Mud on my cleats, I've been through too much rain. Swear to God, I'm tryna eat, I'm having hunger pains. Don't let my brother up that thing, he got that curry range. Shit sound like me when the chopper sing. I can't let him cross me like I'm Gary Payton. Been fighting these demons, get off me, Satan. I sit up at 9, fuck it, I can't keep debating. Slide on them like these beats and I ain't in skating. These niggas say they brothers, but ain't no relation. How you say that you my nigga, but you pump faking? I know who my nigga.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Don't Do That Chat. This is Ortiz.
And Maddie.
Damo. Beat There's Money, man. We back at it. Yeah, we in the hunt. We finna talk about some good stuff. Yeah, Stevie.
Alright, in this episode, we got 2 special guests today. First one,
Demaria Lane.
Isaiah.
let's get it. So right now we're gonna talk about sports. A lot of us got sports background, and our topic today we're gonna talk about how sports impact urban communities, our black communities, in positive or negative ways, and we can go on like this multiple levels or tiers of it, from financial to mindsets and things like that, and how kind of like the system kind of puts you in like this pipe box and this pipeline pretty much. So
I'll start it off, man. But I just want to say, aside from that, I feel like a positive thing that brought me out of my youth sports, Demaria could say the same thing. I feel like growing up playing sports in Oakland, was playing against the best of the best, and it really raised that competitive culture to get me to the next level as far as high school and then going on to college. Same thing with D-Lane. I know D-Lane went D1, I went D2, and I would just say, like, if I didn't have that background in youth, I wouldn't have that stellar performance that I've had in high school. But as far as a positive experience, like, it definitely taught me football and basketball. Taught me the traits of the world to become a good man, I would say. The teamwork taught me like responsibility, being a quarterback and being responsible for knowing what everybody has to do, knowing everybody's job. Being reliable as far as like, I got to do my job in order for my team to succeed. Feel me? Like if I do my job, then of course, and everybody else does their job, shit, we get a touchdown, we get something out of it, something good comes out of it. And that's the same thing when it comes in the world. And like say you got your job and shit like that. You have to work with a team. It's pretty rare that you work by yourself and you don't communicate with anybody else, and I'll say like sports was definitely positive in that way and teaching me how to go on in life like that. So,
let me start off with a fact that probably most people out there just don't know. Most Fortune 500 companies are ran by ex-college football players. I believe college, but a lot of them are actually ran by athletes, college athletes. But I want to say college football players, if I'm correct. And for a lot of the reasons Marjani just said, man, I think especially football. But if you know me, like you guys, y'all know hoop was actually my first love. But I think football is the ultimate team game, and the game that teaches you that translates the most to the real world as far as accountability, responsibility, being on time, tardiness and stuff like that. Right now I work in county office.
I disagree with that.
You think you disagree with?
I think hoop take more of a cohesive.
It's only 5 men on the court. You need in football to be successful. Because in hoop, you're right, D. But in hoop, like. It could be one thing. We seen LeBron take a trash-ass team to the finals and win the East for years. Football, it's 11 moving parts that need to act at one to be successful.
You should hold 11 parts on the defense.
That's what I'm about to say. And you can go and see that. Like, football players tend to have a bigger ego. So it damn near seems like it's successful players.
Basketball players.
I'm talking about this.
I'm thinking about it, and it's more so like the bigger name guys, like the ABs, like the guys that got actual top. I think basketball is just as bad.
Let me step
but it's more of a
I'm off your comment, bro. So I went to University of Arizona. So this is a top tier D1 basketball school. We also got a pretty good football players. Willie Parks from the Denver Broncos, he plays there.
And who get more love on the campus?
The basketball players.
Okay.
They walk around. They're all 6 foot something. They're all tall. They stand out. Everybody knows their name. And football people got face masks.
I know campuses where the football team. I know campuses where the football team is trash and like they still the toast of the town.
But I will say this though. It does depend on like what sports school you go to and like that. Because mine's the top
area,
like coach in Alabama, they don't really care about the football players over there. But like in Arizona, it's like we know most likely everybody going pro is going to be on that basketball team. We do have D1 players that they go to the pro, but they know majority of the people that's going pro, it's going to be a basketball. We had from Stanley Johnson to Iguodala, hell of people that go to that school. Brandon Ashley. They all going pro. To Alonzo Trier, Gordon, all these people they went to Aaron Gordon. They all went to U, but they became pro players. So a lot of people when they see these NBA players, they're like, I'm going. So the NBA player over time they develop the attitude like of superiority, though. But getting off.
But that's go ahead.
I was going to actually get to a con as far as when they box us in, how you were talking about earlier, as far as when they tell us, growing up, it's not really even telling us. It's what do we see around us and on TV that they tell us ways to be successful as a black man. Rapper, actor, something like that. Or entertainment to entertain me. It's really all entertainment. Sports. You can only entertain and be successful and to be something towards them. So I definitely to the other man, I definitely believe football or all sports when you're just like top just to be in that box from the youth years, it can be a detriment for sure, just because you're only learning one thing one way or one way to make income. So like why I do see the cons is like, so when I run across one of my high school players I work with right now, where to him it's league or bust. Why is it like that, young man? Why does it have to be like that? That's all he's seen his whole life. Black people around him making it in college or football or making it rapping. So I definitely think other outlets and avenues need to be pushed in our face. Why don't we see more black doctors on TV, psychiatrists, educators, shit like that? I work in education now, and we are at big need in black women too, but males, because to lead our next generation. And we're getting stripped of being told about our true culture, our true heritage, all that shit in these white schools and by these white teachers. And I think black males definitely are needed in the education space.
So that's perfect. So I'm kind of give it to like my background. So same thing. I played, of course, I played football in high school. I was the top football player too. All league and football, wrestling, track and field. I was the guy on category. Me and Marjani was for the most part. But I also knew, and I kind of talked about DeMar earlier, I also knew that football was my only outlet. I knew I was smart. I was also an AP student too, so I wasn't in that box. And Brandon Murray had to talk to me like, RT's like, be honest with you, you can be more than just a football player. Like, you know smart, you can own a business, you can own land. And that was inspired me talking fast internet. He like, RT, you can be more than just an athlete. Like, you can be somebody that makes a change in society that some athletes just can't make. Some can, but like some can't. So when I was like, okay, did I go to a D1 college? Even though like I walked on and did something like, it was my focus wasn't never the football. It was like, I'm gonna give me a degree, which I got, and I'm gonna try to make my own stamp, which I'm like on my way of making already at such a young age. So that I detriment to that. A lot of people see my route as like, that's not the way to go. You supposed to go to JUCO. You was good. You should have went try to go D1, this and that.
Well, you know why, D? Because I was gonna say, I definitely get your point as far as you seeing in yourself young. I like the fact that you seen that young in yourself as far as like I could be more than just this football player. I like the players that actually use it as a stepping stool to. So I'm sorry if I'm saying his name wrong. It's either Myron or Byron Raw, the dude from Florida State, mid 2000s. Ends up being a neurologist. Something like that. Neurosurgeon, something like that. And I'm sorry if I said that wrong, but he took advantage of that opportunity given to him. So as far as what you do now, real estate, property management, shit, you said right. You don't think you could end up doing that, going to JUCO, getting that free money and going to a different university and being able to do the same thing?
So I think I could have did that, but it would still be within my mindset. So I'm using football as, like I said, as a stepping stone, but also I can get there without it. If I knew I couldn't get there without it, I would have used football as like my ultimate way to get to that point. But a lot of people go with the mindset that if I don't play a sport, I can't get to college, I can't pay for it, I can't afford it. Yeah. And they kind of tell you this is the way to do it. They don't teach you other back alleyways to do it because they want us to box each other. They want us to be boxed in. It's either football player or bust, it's either rapper or bust. Like saying, so a lot of black people, like everybody I see, like you said earlier, everybody I see like me who made it, came from these avenues. I don't see too many popular ones. But the coolest thing, I'll give you a cool story. When I worked in my property in downtown San Francisco, and it motivates me to this day. Brand new property, just built. Owners came. Black owners. I'm like, whoa. I got people that look just like me, brothers. They went to Columbia, Berkeley, lawyers. This and I'm like, look just like me. On properties, multi-million-dollar properties established in Frisco. And at that, I'm like, bro, let me be your mentor because a lot of black people don't see that. And that's also what I want to change is like when I get to their level, how can I be seen and show people that you can be this? So like when kids come up, it might be a dude like me who was a good athlete, but I'm like, dude, you can do football, but that don't work out. No, you can go into this too. No, you can own land. And like you said earlier, bro, the most important thing in America is land. Yeah. Land is powerful. McDonald's food is okay. But the most important thing that McDonald's does,
they own the most real estate.
They own the most real estate in America. They're a powerful entity in America. They own land. And black people, we do not own enough land. I forgot the exact numbers to it, but like on a ratio, we own the least amount of land per like race in America. And that's because of other reasons you can touch upon it.
And I love this topic because you can go different ways, different avenues. Let me go back to a pro, and I would actually like to tie Zay into this one. Another, and I haven't heard none of us say this word yet. I'm pretty sure it came up later. A key word that's a pro that's coming from sports is structure. And I know a guy like me, and a lot of guys like me as far as in the black community that come from single parent homes. I'm also the only child, so I kind of fiend for like having that village, having people around me. That's why I love coaching now, just being around people. But that structure, man, I would love to tie Zay into this because I feel like sports and the structure within sports saved his life from going the opposite way, and saved my life, probably saved all our lives by playing it just because it was a lot of other things we could have been out there doing. You feel me? And that structure, you feel me? Like, I don't know you guys' personal story too much, but I know ours, we were actually able or afforded those opportunities. And the reason why I wanted to tie Zay into this is because me and Zay were first cousins. My cousin didn't get those same opportunities I did, but when he did play sports, I seen how impactful it was into shaping him to where he is now. And he hasn't played since high school. We still play adult leagues and shit, but like actually, like, you feel me, on a team and shit like that. He hadn't played since high school, but I still see some of those teaching instructions that you learn from the game, and that's all under structure. And I think a lot of black men need that.
That's one thing football will teach you. Football is like the ultimate structure teaching point.
Yeah, I would just like to say about that is like, so yeah, like my first organized playing sports was in middle school, King, 7th grade. I grew up just playing the playground, just playing all the time. That was like my only way of, being away from the house and having some sense of joy where I ain't got to be around adults fighting all the time and stuff like that. So I think it was an escape for me, man. I think it was something that kept me with the hope that I can be doing something outside of my environment. I got a bunch of people around me, my age was smoking, 13, 14, 15. Hoop was like, I'm not smoking. Because of that, because I do got hoop dreams and I do.
And that structure,
the structure did that for you. And the structure came from more so like when you really don't have too many role models and like what he was talking about earlier, mentors, like people around you, as you was piggyback off what you were saying too earlier, like people around you that's gonna tell you like, hey, you can be more than. And I was never like the best hoop player or nothing like that, but it was just people around you. They see the spark in you. They like, man, you can really do something with yourself. And these is coaches, but they talk to you like, as father figures, and you don't get that much. You like, whoa, like, dude care about me? You know what I mean? Like, like they give you that sense of love, and then you got teammates, and we all in this together. So yeah, man, it definitely taught me that aspect of things. The structure was tremendous to me, especially coming from a broken family. So I think that's
and that's why it's big to have, like I said earlier, have black males in education and in coaching. The first man I seen take care of his family, his kids, and have a wife, a home, a black man, and be able to coach and get back to you was Marjani's dad. Man. If I'm correct.
That's Marjani's dad.
Yeah, and that you can't. But that Coach Short, man. Shout out Coach Short.
I think everybody loves Coach Short.
Yeah, everybody loves Coach Short. But as a young boy, Coach Short, my junior major coach, that was the first man I seen like taking care of his family and raising his kids the right way. And it was like, we need those type of role models. You feel me?
To touch on that though, on the other side of that, the other side of that is that I had black coach mentors, but one of my biggest mentors in actually middle school was his name was Mr. Fobbs. He's like a now director of like Hayward School, Unified School District. He went all the way up, and he was on me since my 7th grade year about sport, about school and stuff like that. So he really like was one of the first mentors I had Him, he was a college athlete too. He played on at Chico State, played basketball at Chico State. And he was on me from day one down to call my grandparents. And he made me accountable for everything I did. And he didn't let me like slack just because as like another kid. And that's why I think we do need more black teachers in here.
Structure. That's another part of having that structure. We don't have that in the households within our communities. You feel me?
Nah, definitely. But like I said, it is. I just think it's because our culture kind of really focuses like sports and music on it. I think it does impact a lot of black people in a negative way because it's like it shows in our one light. So if we talk about
like the schools, like they promote. You feel me? Like they ain't having prep rallies for honor roll. Like everything is for the athletes. Even if the school and the team is weak as hell, you know what I'm saying? The school is promoting the athletes, so it's like it makes people like okay, being an athlete. People that didn't even give a fuck about sports. So it's like as opposed to if they uplifted being a doctor, veterinarian, something that somebody really want to do, a cartoon animator, you feel me, shit like that. And then too, they take away all the other programs from other schools, like the music program. They take away. They have a debate team at the school. You feel me? We could have probably benefited from some shit like that. But
I would have joined the debate team.
You feel me? That's what we're doing that right. We do this on a day.
You know, that debate team going crazy. You know what I'm saying? You know.
That nigga would be like still talking just like Trump to the thing. It's like your time is up. He's like, no, let me keep going.
I definitely got respect. I just like to come with some. I could come with the opinion. I like to come with a lot of facts, but off what you saying, like they don't promote it in our schools.
And I think that would be great too. Like if you think about it, like. You know, constructive criticism is something that you learn. Like I remember like people telling me stuff and like I would get like mad about it. Like, you know, I know it's true, it might be true, but it's just like I ain't trying to hear that, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like I think having, you know, constructive conversations and things like that where you're going back and forth like that, especially in our community, and it's not resulting in something violent and you ain't gotta you don't know how to agree to disagree. To me, that's what like limit a lot of our conversations and a lot of like transferring this information, which we're doing right now. Like I think that limit us, and that's why we also behind. And that goes back to looking back at ourselves in the mirror.
That's about
those. You go ahead.
I would say real quick, you can go. That's what I love about this, like this group, our podcast and stuff like that. Is we'll say anything, like Dom, me, my Johnny, Dave. We will say our opinions real quick, like we don't get in there arguing for a whole hour about something, like what safety was a choice or whatever it may be. It's like
because Dom be on some bullshit.
My boy Steven, but what Steven Jackson be saying, and that's how our community should move, is agree to disagree, but we shouldn't have to disrespect each other while we're having that agreement or to disagree. It shouldn't involve disrespect. We should be able to have that.
We gotta stop being so violent to each other. Like you can, I'm
no, go ahead. Cause I'm a remember. So it's like, I want everybody to be.
We gotta stop being so violent towards each other. Because I find a lot of part of our culture is that, and like, as soon as somebody kind of go against you or don't agree with you, kind of give you that criticism. But I saw some stuff in like Nigeria today, and I think, but these are the same people. About what happened with the governments that fire on them. I'm like, bro, I'm looking at black people like with their head going, and I feel really bad for them. Like, damn, like. But we talk about this in our music, like this is what we gonna do too, Mike. But it's actually stuff really out there happening like this, and like we gotta stop. We gotta just start showing more love to each other and really try to keep bringing each other.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, bro, I'm not saying like in the device, that's all we got. And I'm not speaking this for black men, but like males and like Americans, like we need to all come together. Like all of this politics just shows how divisive and how separated America really is. But we gotta figure out a way to bridge us together and also the rest of this country together. And it starts with these conversations and like trying to understand people. Like I would talk to the leader of the Ku Klux Klan to help him understand. And actually, it was like this famous black dude that actually used to meet up with the He made him not to be racist anymore, but it came from it comes from a conversation and that's talking to each other. If you fear somebody you never talk to them, nobody's ever gonna change. They stuck in their ways. But by having these conversations, you learn, you grow. Same thing with athletes. We have these conversations about what's going on in our communities and about why they tell us they try to push you in that lane on you being an athlete, rapper, this and that, and tell them like there's other ways out. You still can take this lane. If you Saquon Barkley with quads bigger than my own, like with two of my legs put together, then you might keep going. But I also know there's other ways out. You could be a multi-millionaire, or you could be an owner of properties and stuff like that. There's other ways to do it, and we need to definitely spread the message in both ways. Say this being so focused on one end.
You know, to go off on a side note on that, as far as like, you know, how they, like, we can all say today that it's pretty racist, right? Like
that's blatant.
I mean, come on, man. The leader of the country's racist, man.
And we can debate on that too.
But we can. But look, I'm not trying to get into that. I'm just trying to say that racism is definitely something that's still alive in the world.
You know, facts.
You know what I'm saying? People still judge people on their skin color.
Facts.
But with playing sports, I think another pro is, you know, especially when I got to college, I was playing against some dudes, all different nationalities. You know, black, white, poly, Mexican. Fucking, it don't matter. It really don't matter where they from. And what you realize playing a sport is that when you all put in that hard ass work, conditioning, weightlifting, or pulling early ass mornings, late nights, going through the same struggle, really realizing that as an athlete, as a student athlete, you are required to do more than others, and then you're going through that struggle together. You realize that, he going through that too. He going through that too. It don't matter if he black, white, Mexican, you depend on each other. And when you on that field and shit like that, you depending on your brother to go ahead and make that play. And it's like I said, it don't matter. It's just like if he's wearing a different color than what I'm wearing, you know what I'm saying? Then fuck, I'm finished for my brother. You feel me?
And they go back to what they was talking about, like constructive criticism and all of that shit. And we need to be able to take all of that because, like you was more willing to probably take your teammate saying something to you than opposed to somebody that was just in your class. You know what I'm saying? Because you know I got the common goal. You feel me? It's a common goal, and I feel like that's like even though it's kind of going off topic, but it's like that's what a lot of the problems I feel like come from because it's like in our community, a lot of this shit stems off hate. You feel what I'm saying? Like when motherfuckers want, like when people want to, like when people get motivated, it's off of hate. When people want to do anything, it's off of like, you feel me, anger, evil, whatever, you feel me, it's off of all type of hate and evil, you feel me? So I feel like the mindset has to change, like, and just take constructive criticism.
Further what you're saying, going off of that, like everything kind of do based off it. The time when people are most joined together is do something that's done with hate. Like for example, 9/11. All American was one at the time, from racist to black. It doesn't matter what you was. When somebody else that we hated attacked us, we all came together. Like our old big wars when we was going against Japanese since World War II or anything. When somebody against us, it brings everybody together. No matter what you look like. You go to war together. We looking at like we better be in there dying together. So
I will say this to tip my hat. I would like to tip my hat to our white counterparts as far as that's in our generation. I think this is the most we've ever seen our white counterparts on the front lines with us, going back to our grandparents, great grandparents, whatever, Jim Crow, slavery, everything. This is the best time as far as them actually taking a step and locking arms with us during our protesting and shit like that. So I definitely want to tip my hat to the younger generation of our white counterparts that's been out there with us.
And before we wrap up, David, you want to add anything to it? Like your experience, you had experience, from sports and the community and stuff like that you might see how it impact you the most.
I feel like sports, I feel like gave us structure and it was forced, but at the same time, I feel like it kind of only set us up for like a certain type of structure. Like it just like what he said in high school, like you feel me, pep rallies and shit, how they is geared towards promoting sports. You feel me? And I think that fucked us up mentally for real. Because I feel like we were so geared and seeing the popularity of sports and then being in sports and playing, and it just made it like, I don't really give a fuck about school. You feel me? Like I don't really get that's not your way out. School is your way out. It's not my way out. Like I fuck with English a little bit, or I prefer math over English, but I don't give a fuck about neither one of these. You feel me? Like soon as the season over, motherfuckers start ditching class. You feel me? Motherfuckers get to veering off, mind go everywhere, bro, because our structure is gone for real.
And that's why that's why I go back to we need black men in education and in coaching to hold us accountable and I had a coach. I feel like every one of us probably had a coach like where they seen something in us when we were younger, and that's like one of my biggest pet peeves within the sport and all sports, really, football included, is when these young men don't see their own potential and they don't understand, not take advantage of their God-given talents to transition into something else. A guy like the Roll kid was talking about from Florida State that ended up becoming a doctor. He took advantage of that. You feel me? Yeah. I feel like more of us need to do that because, like I said to you earlier, I feel like you could have still ended up doing the same thing you're doing now, playing football, if you just did it properly. Like I had teammates. So one of my things right now is I want to go back to school. Right? I feel like all my years of playing sports and doing school at the same time, I feel like I was a pretty smart kid. I always had like a 3.0 or some shit like that. I always had good B's, C's, average. I feel like I was smart enough to get straight A's, but I never did get that chance to focus just on school. You feel me? So,
because just to touch on that, usually it's called a student athlete, but in college, if you're on the shit, you getting paid to be there? Nah, you a fucking athlete student. The fuck? Because your commitment goes to sports first, because that's the reason why you're there. And of course, like the coach is gonna say, "Oh no, we want academics and shit." But when you out there on the field, you think they gonna fuck if you got a 1.2 GPA, you got 3 touchdowns.
Because at the end of the day, how does he feed his family? He gotta win ball games.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Yeah, you gotta win ball games. But that's when it comes. That's a guy like Nick Saban. But then that's when you got a guy probably like Prime. Shout out to Prime, Deion Jackson. He just took the job at HBCU. We know he actually care about them boys. We know he actually is gonna give those boys the basic fundamentals to help them succeed in life and he's gonna network with those boys, make sure when they leave his program they ain't just thinking about football, they got other opportunities, they ain't met people like some of the good coaches. They usually bring people in to come talk to you, different people that they know that's positive role models. I'm pretty sure you had somebody like that come in when your coaches brought somebody in, a figure, and that's the other way you can see those examples and be able to take off with your talents and not just be boxed in with the sport. So even on the JUCO level, I got a real problem with the black man in junior college. It's one thing if you struggled in high school, but if you didn't struggle in high school, you just wasn't applying yourself. Junior college is that's literally your second chance, and you don't take advantage of it. I had a baller, I'm not gonna name his names. They know him, you probably know him too because he played on our team, adult team. My boy was a baller, but he didn't give a fuck about school. And it's like, bro, you better, like, I felt like he should have went to a bigger school than me, but he didn't give a fuck about school, you feel me? So it's like, no, we gotta understand this is a package deal. You just using this to further your other talents, or you need to be able to realize within yourself, hey, I'm more talented than just this.
I feel like they come from that building up the sport over the education. You know what I'm saying?
And I get that. Like I said, I feel like that just comes from more black coaches in education and in coaching, just because they'll be able to see that, like, this young boy got talent, or you can do something else.
I think it goes into, I'm a big believer in balance. So if you too far in one direction, one's going to suffer. So me, I thought I was really balanced. So even though I love football and I love school, so I was balanced out. Everything I made was very calculated. Some people love football more than they love school, and that's detrimental. But some people they like football, but they love school way more. So they don't work their ass off in football to be the best athlete they can be. Mm-hmm. So you need to be somewhere in the middle, and it comes from.
Sometimes it be both. Motherfuckers don't care about school or football.
And that's what they do.
And both are the ones that's kind of like a lost cause, where you like, man, you really gotta help that kid then, because it's like, well, what is your attitude?
I'm gonna say more on the lungs of kind of care, because I feel like probably all of us probably have some of it in us to where we want to practice, but we miss every once in a while, or we not practicing them. Like, we didn't have that full determination to want to go D1 and ball out D1. You get what I'm saying? Like,
I'm not gonna lie, that's not true for me.
Some more than others. No, me, I know I had a lot more talent in me than what I showed, because I didn't give I was halfway in. Like, I fuck with football, but I don't fuck with how to coach. Like, I was always the tiniest nigga on the field, so I didn't fuck with how the coach would try to dictate how I played because I was my size and not because of my talent. You feel me? So shit like that.
That's not one of the better coaches.
That's why I like Coach Troy. Coach Troy,
he stayed pulling me to the side like D. Like, I didn't have millions to talk with Coach Troy.
So what I take from that is like, that goes back to like. Even though it's kind of like, deeper into the subject, but it's back to our school system. I think the awareness is huge. Like, I think we all use sports for different things. Some of us use it because we knew we could probably get our moms out the hood. We probably knew our talent could take us to places and put our family on. Some of us use it for the brothers that we build, or the father figures, and things like that. And I think if the awareness of, if I get an education, I could possibly be a doctor, a lawyer, things that wasn't presented to us, the options that they limited us with, things of, you got to be a hooper or a fucking football player or whatever. I think the fact that, our school system is underfunded and we don't really have people that's too serious about educating us and the things that we are learning about in school, it's not based on like real life. I feel like life is totally different from school. And when you get hit by life, it's be so hard because school really doesn't prepare you. So
and what does that go back to what I said a minute ago? You gotta have positive black role models in teaching and education. My bad, most of us don't even learn about taxes and shit like that in school until maybe you get to college, and even then you don't really learn it. But I actually had one of the best economic teachers I feel like ever, my boy Mr. Bond. I learned about taxes. I still got my notes on my phone. He gave me 10 steps to how to get a job in the interview, like how to interview. like you need them type of people that actually care. You feel me? To actually be like, no, this is the right way. We're gonna teach you the real world and shit like that. But we don't have enough of that.
Going off of that, to be honest, I feel like that's the perfect example of what we need. We don't just need somebody to be like, you feel me, go play, you feel me, go to school, you feel me, go to college and get you a cool job. You feel me, go work for this. We need somebody to get you step by step. Like, nigga, I played football, you feel me, didn't work out. I went to school, I studied this didn't work out, nigga, and I stumbled across like the shit you in. You feel me? Like, everything ain't meant to happen, but we don't got people telling us step for step what they did, trials and tribulations. You feel me? Like, shit just not mapped out smooth, bro. It be all type of bumps in the road. You feel me? While you finding out what you gotta do or you feel me, what you trying to be type shit.
Yeah. And this gonna sound probably wrong, but I feel like for that to have like better people in those positions, they do need to pay more. You get what I'm trying to say? Like, we saying we want like real professionals in a sense and real shamans and all that, you know what I'm saying, spiritual teachers, all that, so that I feel like they do need to kind of pay teachers more, because at the same time they got a life too, you feel what I'm saying, and for them to reach and
they ain't gonna get paid once a month. That's even worse.
Teachers get
they only get paid once a month.
But that's the thing with our society, we value entertainment more than we value some things like knowledge and stuff like we aren't.
It's not it's just through the system, systematically, or like, you feel me, our schools is in poverty. All the schools we went to, or you feel me, some of the schools we went to, they can't afford shit.
Like, they made it think.
Look, I went to a program in Dublin. It was called Synopsis. It was a science program. You feel me, for kids. Anyways, I was going to Chabot at the time. You feel me? My counselor was telling me, in Dublin schools, you feel me, when they need schools in better areas, like for example, we from California, I went to Hayward High, and the difference from my high school and Dublin high schools is when they need something like for the science program, okay, they got a bunch of machines that don't work. It's plenty of parents that'll donate to the school $10,000, $20,000, $40,000 so their kids educate, you feel me, to help out their kids' education. As for us, our school, like, man, we need books, we need simple shit, you feel me? A parent can't get your ass shit. I don't know what you gonna do. Ask the government. You feel me? Like,
also maybe if we was able to buy and pick our own books and what was the content that was in the books, maybe more parents would be willing to pay.
We just don't have the money, bro.
That's a whole other category. But that's not what he's trying to touch on. He's just touching the bone. We don't have the resources. You talk about if we had the resources that we wanted, then we'll put more money into it.
We put our money where we want to.
That's true. I want a fancy car, but I can't afford it.
No, yeah, facts, but as a people, we put our money where we want to, though, bro. We have the nicest shoes, the nicest cars, the nicest clothes. We put our money where we want to, nigga.
For sure.
Black people, we value But you know what's crazy though? We come from kings and queens in Africa and Egypt. Jury is the way. That was a part of our day-to-day life. So of course, when you see a young nigga want slugs, young nigga want diamond chain shit.
We sold off the gold.
Yeah,
so we got
people, his ancestors, that's deeply rooted in us. You feel me? To shine, to be, you know, flashy, whatever. That's fine. But we gotta have our priorities in place. You feel me? And you gotta get to whole level or something. You feel me? You gotta get on that level before you just start. You shouldn't have no Porsche in an apartment like this. You shouldn't be pulling up into a Porsche. I'm sorry. I'm walking in, I said my boy had a real player pass. So I didn't even mean your apartment like that, but you know what I'm saying. That was hella funny. But nah, real talk, that's priorities fucked up though.
Like, you're right though.
You feel me? You shouldn't be pulling up into an apartment complex in a Porsche. You feel me? You got enough money to get a Porsche. You got enough money to get you some land somewhere, brother. Yeah, so our priorities is all fucked up as a community and as a race.
Yeah.
And I think it's systematically, like we already talked about that. We already know.
It's all about the bag though.
Yeah. All right, everybody, we're going to wrap it up for today. Thanks for tuning into another episode of Don't Do That Chat. Our guest did an amazing job. We talked about, like I said, sports and how they impact us in a positive and negative way. And make sure to comment if y'all can figure out some other ways how sports impact us in a positive or negative way. As always,
don't do that.
Don't do that.
Help, man. I'm trying to tell you.
Shut up, baby.